All right, welcome back. You might wonder, and many people wonder this. Many people message me on the side, John, the studio's in your house, and I wonder if you have pants on. And in the summer, it was a valid question because I rarely had pants on. In fact, Nico and Jess, who were producing the show in the summer, they used to have to come get me out of the pool at like 11:50 and say, "Come on, come inside." And I would have on my damp bathing suit and flip flops with a shirt and tie over here to make it look like I was dressed. But I was more often than not in my underpants, which is one of the topics we'll be covering with America's psychiatrist, Dr. Carole Lieberman, joins us again, as she does often. Thank you, Doctor. Dr. Carole, I'm going to get to Captain Underpants in a minute, but Florida Governor Ron DeSantis says he's going to work to ban the completely unacceptable vaccine passports. Now, how crazy is this? They don't want voter ID, but they want us to have vaccine passports.
Yes, this is one of the scariest things that has come down. And I don't think people realize it. Because so many people are just so, they're so excited when they get the vaccine and think that they're so special and so on. But vaccine passports, that is the sign, or passports, having to show papers is the sign of a police state. And it also will convey a lot of information, private information, to whoever is gathering this. On it's not just on paper, there are also apps they're working on and so on. It is an invasion of privacy, and it is really more 1984, Orwell's 1984. We have been having gradually with COVID, we've been made to be afraid. We've been made to stay inside. These are steps, when we look back in history, we'll be able to see even more clearly the steps that have been taken to take away our freedom.
So, Doc, let me ask you this. Just a quick question. I'll see if you know this. Do you know what race the last known mass lynching in America was against?
No, I don't know.
I believe 17 Italian men were hung in New Orleans in the late 1800s, and they were referred to as Sicilian Negroes, I believe, that they were referring to these Italian guys just the same as at that time they referred to slaves or other people. And the last known mass lynching was of Italian people, okay? And we don't have, as an Italian American, an Irish Italian American, we don't have an advocate. We don't have, what's his name? Father Guido Sarducci from Saturday Night Live. We don't have, an Al Sharpton type character. So Italians get pushed to the side. But Asians now are coming under severe attack. There's physical violence going on in New York and other places against the Asian community. Nothing's being done, nothing that I could see. But at the same time, this popular book series, Captain Underpants, is now being pulled from shelves because these two time travelers meet an Asian kung fu instructor, and they made passive stereotypes about him in the Ook and Glook Kung Fu Cavemen series. How low can we go? Humans are getting beat up because they're Asian, but we're canceling books because it's a cartoon about an Asian kung fu master.
And I guarantee the people who are beating up the Asians have not read that book. I mean, it's not about that. It is so ridiculous. People are spending long hours looking at all the children's books that there are and trying to find more and more, not just Dr. Seuss, but now this, which is it's a very well-known series, but this book isn't, that well-known. And plus, it really is a positive thing for Asians in the sense that the Kung Fu master is presented as a wise man, talking about various, Chinese or Asian principles. So it's not like, I guess it's the character. I don't even know, but I've seen an interview of the author, Dave Pilkey, And he's a very sweet guy. There's no way that he was doing this on purpose to be racist against Asians. He talks about how when he was a kid, he had attention deficit hyperactivity disorder. And so some of the things that he writes about, comes from his memories of those days and so on. So he's not the kind of guy that would purposely put something out there to be racist or to be discriminatory against anyone because he had his own problems.
Yeah, I would say I haven't read the book, but I can understand where you're coming from. And, what about like Kung Fu Panda? Is that a passive stereotype? What about Karate Kid? You would, you know what I mean? You have this karate master teaching a young man. Is that a passive stereotype? Like, where does it end? Females have said to me in life, you're being passive aggressive with your answers. What does that even mean, Doc? Passive aggressive?
Well, it means like you're being aggressive, but you're hiding it. You're doing things in a very surreptitious way so that, that you're hoping that the person doesn't quite get it, how aggressive you're being. But yes, you can look at so many books. I mean, most of the books for kids have, they're illustrated and they have all of these different characters and they're not, they weren't intended. And I think you have to really look long and hard and twist what you're thinking and saying to say that these things are racist. It is really sad.
Yeah, I almost feel like, I want to start a collection of, all the canceled things, like Aunt Jemima, Uncle Ben, Eskimo Pie, Land O'Lakes Butter, Mr. Potato Head. I want to have a pile of these things on my desk and be like, what did any of these things do to you? You know what I'm saying? Like, who's the injured party here?
It's interesting. Now that this came out about this book on Amazon, the book has gone up. It's so expensive now to buy. It's $450 the last time I looked for a hard copy of this book. And it was $195 or something for a paperback of the book. I mean, the same thing with Dr. Seuss. When they banned the 6 books of Dr. Seuss, those books went up higher, cost more and more people were buying them on Amazon and so on. So it's interesting, that there is this opposite kind of effect.
Yeah. And I understand what you're saying. It almost makes it more of a collector's item. You know what I'm saying? Like,
exactly.
I still have a couple of bottles of Aunt Jemima syrup in my fridge. And I'm wondering if I should, maybe store it, cold storage or something, and maybe worth, the $5 bottle, maybe worth $5,000 in a couple of years.
That's true.
Some of these Dr. Seuss books as well, the 6 books that you referenced here, that the prices have skyrocketed on these things. So people that don't care about the cancel culture, I guess, are like, oh, now that's more of a collector's item. So they're actually creating more demand for it.
Yes, both a collector's item and also people who don't want, people who want to be able to share that with their children, just to actually have the book. The libraries, fortunately, in New York, unless they've changed their mind, but like the New York Public Library, Brooklyn, Queens, they are not taking Dr. Seuss off the shelves. And also, the publisher of Dr. Seuss books, when that happened, when this ban came about, they got offers, tons of offers from other publishers and individuals to take over the rights to those books. So, I mean, that I think is the way to fight back against cancel culture for everything.
To sell the rights to someone else?
Yes, to keep it going somehow.
Got it. Well, look, fortunately for me, I've been canceled off YouTube and TikTok and my personal Instagram page, but I haven't been canceled off television yet because my boss over here, Scott, at Biz TV, he's a great American patriot, and he's like, "JIT, just keep telling it like it is." But I'm sure one of these days they'll get around to trying to figure out how to cancel me. But one thing is for sure, if you need any help understanding what's going on with you psychologically or otherwise, do not cancel the idea of calling Dr. Carole Lieberman because she's America's psychiatrist, and She's my personal shrink. She doesn't even know it, but she soothes me every time she comes on the show. That's for sure.
Glad to hear that.
Dr. Carole Lieberman, you're the best. Thank you for always making time for us.
Thank you.
All right.